صلوا على النور يا أحمد الله نور المنازل يا محمد.
Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. They say just as our bodies need nourishment to survive, our souls need to be nourished as well. But the question is, how often do we feed our souls? Welcome to Soul Food, a podcast about spiritual refinement. My name is Amjad Tarsin, and I invite you to embark with me on this journey inward to work on our souls. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to episode 9 of Soul Food, titled Service. In this episode, we're going to talk about serving the elderly. We'll talk about the importance of service. And finally, we'll talk about serving others with humility. A sign of a healthy society is people's care and reverence for their elders. And unfortunately, in modern times, people often look down at the elderly, that they're kind of inconvenient, or they're not productive in society, or that people don't really want to serve them or be bothered with taking care of them. And because people have become so selfish, they deem it inconvenient to take care of other people, maybe even their own relatives. Although many righteous people throughout time would go out of their way to help the elderly and the needy. The Prophet ﷺ's great-grandson, Sayyidina Ali Zayn al-Abidin, may Allah be well pleased with him, he anonymously provided for 100 households in Medina. And they only knew it was him when he passed away, that he would go in the middle of the night with a little bit of money and different things, gold coins and silver coins, and he would drop off those provisions and the things that people needed at their doorsteps and at their houses in the dark of night, so they didn't know it was him. And only when he passed away did people realize it was him, because that person who used to come to them no longer came. Another great scholar and person of piety who would take care of people was Imam Jalaluddin al-Mahalli. And he would serve elderly women in his neighborhood, and he would buy their groceries. And sometimes he would be in the middle of a class, and an elderly woman would ask him to go buy oil or something from the marketplace, and he would interrupt his class and go and buy those things in order to take care of that elderly woman's need. And they asked him, his students, they would say, well, why are you interrupting? Why are you stopping the class and cutting the class short to go take care of her need? And he said, his response was that by serving Muslims and bringing happiness to their hearts, I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant me his forgiveness. And really what that teaches us is the exaltedness and the importance of taking care of people's needs, especially those who can't take care of themselves, or who are unable to do it once they've reached old age, for example. This brings us to the next point, the importance of service. The Prophet ﷺ said, and this is an amazing hadith, and it's narrated by At-Tabarani. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Inna lillahi azza wa jalla khalqan khalaqahum lihawaij nas. Truly, Allah, the mighty and majestic, has created certain people to take care of other people's needs. يفزع الناس إليهم في حوائجهم, such that people hasten to them in their times of need. أولئك الآمنون من عذاب الله. These are the people who are safe from Allah's punishment. These people who Allah has created to take care of other people's needs, and that they're so reliable and in service so regularly that whenever something bad happens, people rush to them. These are the people who are safe from Allah's punishment. On a day when everyone is afraid, these people are safe and secure. And that's all because they took care of other people's needs. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, من نفس عن مؤمن كربة من كرب الدنيا نفس الله عنه كربة من كرب يوم القيامة. Whoever eases the suffering of a believer in this world, Allah will ease his suffering on the day of resurrection. ومن يسر على معسر يسر الله عليه في الدنيا والآخرة. And whoever helps a person in difficulty, Allah will grant him ease in this life and the next. And then the end of the hadith, وَاللَّهُ فِي عَوْنِ الْعَبْدِ مَا كَانَ الْعَبْدُ فِي عَوْنِ أَخِيهِ. And Allah helps his servant as long as the servant helps his brother. And this is one of the foundational hadith that Imam al-Nawawi includes in his collection of 40 hadith. And it shows us the importance of taking care of other people's needs, helping them in times of difficulty, being there for them, supporting them and assisting them. And then finally, a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked, who are the people most beloved to Allah? And what action is most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the messenger responded sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أحب الناس إلى الله أنفعهم للناس. The most beloved of people to Allah are those who are of most benefit to people. وأحب الأعمال إلى الله سرور تدخله على مسلم. And the most beloved action to Allah is bringing joy to a Muslim's heart. أو تكشف عنه كربة أو تقضي عنه دينا أو تطرد عنه جوعا. The way that you can do that is either to remove a difficulty for him, to pay off a debt for him, or to feed him. All of those things are falling under bringing joy to a Muslim's heart and the most beloved action to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in other narrations, after the obligatory acts. The hadith goes on, وَلَأَنْ أَمْشِ مَعَ أَخٍ لِي فِي حَاجَةٍ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِنْ أَنْ أَعْتَكِفَ فِي هَذَا الْمَسْجِدِ يعني مسجد المدينة شهرًا. To go out with my brother to take care of his need until it's fulfilled is more beloved to me than remaining in spiritual retreat i'tikaf in this mosque, i.e. the Prophet's mosque in Medina, for an entire month. To remain in spiritual retreat for an entire month, which is an amazing thing. But still, the Prophet ﷺ is highlighting the importance of taking care of someone else's need. وَمَنْ مَشَى مَعَ أَخِيهِ فِي حَاجَةٍ حَتَّى أَثْبَتَهَا لَهُ أثبت الله عز وجل قدمه على الصراط يوم تزل فيه الأقدام. And whoever goes out to take care of his brother's need until it's fulfilled, Allah, the mighty and majestic, will make his feet firm over the traverse on the day when feet will falter. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you go out and you walk out and you strive and you sacrifice to take care of someone else's need, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make your feet firm as you cross over the sirat. This brings us to the next point, serving others with humility. It's important when we serve people that we do it not wanting anything in return. We don't want a favor from them. We don't want them to owe us a favor, and when we're in need and we ask them for something, they do it for us. We have to be very careful of that. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when he was the Khalifa, he would visit a blind elderly woman at the outskirts of Medina. And what would he do? He would sweep her home, he would milk her goat, and he would make her food because she was blind and elderly. And he never even told her who he was. He didn't say, I'm Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, I'm the Khalifa, spread the good word about me, let people know that I'm a good Khalifa, that I'm serving you. He didn't even tell her who he was. And the way that we know about this story is that Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab followed him one day to see where he was going, that he would leave and take care of this woman's needs. And he didn't know at that particular time what it was that he was doing. So he followed him, and he eventually asked the woman, "What does this man do for you?" She said, "He sweeps my home and he cooks food for me." He said, "Do you know who he is?" She says, "No, he never told me his name." And that's the rank of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. So we should serve others, intending to do so only so that Allah will be pleased with us. We don't want anything in return. And instead of seeing service, serving someone tea, cleaning a masjid, for example, doing things like that, instead of seeing it as humiliating, we should know in our hearts that Allah is honoring us, that service elevates us. And as our teachers say, Man khadam qadam, whoever serves advances. And they advance in a number of ways. They advance in their rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They advance in their acquisition of beautiful character. They advance in the reward that they receive. So we should serve, and we should serve with humility and not expect anything in return from creation, but do that knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves that from us. This brings us now to the call to action. Find someone close to you, a parent, for example, a friend, a neighbor. Find someone and serve them in some capacity. It can be something as simple as washing their clothes, or mowing their lawn, or getting them groceries, or massaging your parents' feet, for example, or their back, making them tea, doing something to be in service to them. And also, in addition to serving a specific person that is in your life, also serve the ummah by making dua for them, especially those who are suffering and in need, to also remember them in your dua, and to know that that's one of the ways that you can be in service of the ummah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq, and that He blesses us and adorns us and honors us with sincere service. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you for listening to Soul Food. To subscribe to the show, visit soulfood.fm or search for Soul Food in your favorite podcast player. And while you're there, take a minute to leave us a rating and a review. It helps more people discover the show.